I'm a 35-year-old guy from a loud, stereotypical Italian family in New Jersey. You know the vibe. Sunday dinners are non-negotiable. Everyone's in each other's business, and Nana will stuff you with food until you're ready to pop. Growing up, my older sister, Bianca, 38, and our parents, both 65, lived in a cramped three-bedroom house that always smelled of garlic and mom's marinara. Bianca was always the golden child. Mom and Dad acted like she was the pride of Italian Americans. She was charming, sharp, and always chasing a glamorous life. Me? I was just the kid with calloused hands who ended up in construction. Don't get me wrong. I run crews now and make a solid living, enough for a comfortable life, and maybe a yearly vacation if I'm lucky. But to Bianca, I was a letdown. She never hesitated to remind me I settled for a working-class job while she chased her lofty dreams, which mostly involved marrying rich and living large. She pulled it off for a while, too. She met Luca, a 42-year-old millionaire, at some fancy wine-tasting event she'd sneak into, pretending to be someone important. He was loaded, from a respected Italian family, and Mom and Dad were thrilled their princess finally got the life she deserved. They threw this extravagant wedding, draining Dad's savings because Bianca had to have everything. I stood there in my rented tux, watching her marry this poor guy, thinking, well, at least she's someone else's problem now. I couldn't have been more wrong. 5 years later, it all fell apart. Luca filed for divorce, and it wasn't exactly a shock. I had my suspicions. Bianca kept talking about her personal trainer at the gym, always texting, always finding reasons to stay longer. I never said anything. You know how Italian families handle that stuff. But I'm pretty sure Luca caught her doing more than yoga, if you catch my drift. The divorce was messy, like something out of a bad reality show. She even threw plates at a restaurant once. It made the local news. Luca had a sharp lawyer and a tight prenup, so Bianca walked away with little more than monthly support for their 9-year-old daughter, Gianna. That's when the chaos really kicked in. Bianca was a mess. She had no real-world skills after years of playing the trophy wife. She and Gianna needed a place to stay and money to survive. In a normal family, parents would step up to help their daughter get back on her feet. Not ours. Mom and Dad suddenly decided it was time to live their golden years. They'd retired and were planning trips to Italy to rediscover their roots, or some nonsense. They basically told Bianca they couldn't help because they had to find themselves. Funny how they didn't mention the wedding savings they'd blown. So, guess who got roped in? Yep, me, Rocco. This went on for 5 years. 5 years of watching my savings disappear. I skipped vacations because Bianca needed money for Gianna's summer camp. She'd look down on me while living off my dime, acting like she was doing me a favor by letting me help, as if I needed a purpose in life. At family dinners, she'd make these condescending comments about how nice it was that I was so involved, like I was some kid running a charity. But I was raised to believe family helps family, so I gritted my teeth and kept writing checks, telling myself it was temporary. About a year ago, Bianca finally landed a solid job. HR at a pharmaceutical company, good salary, benefits, the works. Around $65,000 a year, way better than the vague consulting she claimed to do before. Spoiler, she wasn't consulting anyone. I thought, this is it. Time to stop being her personal bank. I told her I'd help for a few more months while she settled into the job, for Gianna's sake. That's when things got bizarre. First, Bianca showed up to Sunday dinner in these fancy new shoes. Then a shiny new phone. Then a whole new wardrobe, because her old clothes weren't professional enough for her job. Fine, maybe she got a signing bonus or something. But it kept escalating. Every week, she'd roll into Mom and Dad's with some new luxury item. Designer bags, jewelry. Even talking about joining a high-end gym because her old one didn't have the right vibe. Meanwhile, I'm still covering her rent and utilities because she kept saying she needed a little more time to save. Sunday dinners are sacred in our family. Miss one, and Mom acts like you betrayed the Pope. So, every week, I sat there watching this circus. Bianca showing off her new stuff, Mom and Dad gushing over their princess getting back on her feet, and me quietly calculating how much of my money went to her rent versus her shopping sprees. Aunt Teresa, 64, was the only one who seemed to notice something was off. She'd shoot me these knowing look. across the table, like she could tell I was about to snap. Thank God for her. She's the only sane person in this family besides me. This went on for months. Bianca got more entitled, and I got more fed up. Then came the Sunday that broke me. We're all at the table. Me, Bianca, Gianna, Mom, Dad, and Aunt Teresa. Mom made her famous lasagna, which Bianca usually complains is too caloric. Everything's normal, right? Bianca is bragging about some work thing. Dad's talking about their upcoming Sicily trip, and Gianna's sneaking phone time under the table. Then Bianca drops this gem. I'm thinking of getting this stunning Gucci bag I saw. It's only $500, and it'd be perfect for client meetings. I nearly choked on my wine. $500 for a purse, while I'm paying her $1,600 rent. I try to stay calm. Kind of a lot for a purse when you're still getting help with bills, don't you think? I asked, keeping it light. Her response still echoes in my head. She laughed like I was some clueless kid and said, "Don't be stingy, Rocco. A professional has to look the part." Stingy. She called me stingy. I hadn't bought new work boots in 2 years because her rent ate my budget. I missed my best friend's wedding in Vegas because she needed money for Gianna's camp. I hadn't been on a real date in months because every cent went to her emergencies. The worst part? It wasn't just her. Mom and Dad suddenly got real interested in their plates. Gianna looked uncomfortable. Poor kids used to her mom's nonsense. Only Aunt Teresa seemed ready to speak, but I beat her to it. I put my fork down, took a sip of wine, and let it rip. I don't yell around Gianna, just cold, hard truth. Let's talk about stingy Bianca. Let's talk about me paying your rent for 5 years while you buy designer junk. Let's talk about how Mom and Dad won't help because they're too busy finding themselves in Italy. Let's talk about you looking down on my basic job while living off it. The room went dead silent. You could have heard a meatball roll. Then I laid it out. I'm done. No more rent. No more utilities. No more groceries. No more anything. You got a good job now. Time to act like an adult and pay your own way. Bianca's face cycled through shock, anger, fear, and trying to gauge if I was serious. Aunt Teresa started slow clapping right there at the table. "Attaboy, Rocco," she said. Mom looked like she might pass out. Dad wouldn't even look at me. I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door, but turned back for one last jab. And Bianca, that $500 purse? Maybe spend it on rent instead, because I'm done being your bank. Then I walked out. Aunt Teresa followed, gave me a hug, and said she was proud someone finally called out Bianca's nonsense, that I expected Bianca to blow up my phone with angry texts or voicemails. That's her MO. She once texted me 47 times because I was 10 minutes late picking Gianna up from dance. But nothing. Total silence for a week. Weirdly, the silence hit harder than her yelling. I kept checking my phone, expecting missed calls or something. Even our family WhatsApp group, usually just Mom sending weird prayers or food pics, was dead. Aunt Teresa messaged me privately. "They'll get over it. You did the right thing." I skipped the next Sunday dinner, texting Mom I had work. Not entirely a lie. I took an extra shift. She replied with classic Italian mom guilt. "Fine. Gianna asked about you, but work's more important than family. I get it." Then, Wednesday at 9:30 p.m., someone's banging on my door. I'm in sweatpants, half asleep watching a game. It's Mom and Dad, looking like I'd personally canceled Christmas. Mom storms in, no hello, pacing my living room in her church clothes. They probably came straight from Mass. Dad just stands there with his patented disappointed dad face. "We need to talk about Bianca," Mom says, like she's negotiating world peace. I grab a Coke from the fridge and offer them some. They look at me like I suggested robbing a bank. "Fine, more for me. She's struggling, Rocco," Dad finally says. "Gianna doesn't deserve to suffer because of your stubbornness." I nearly spat out my drink. My stubbornness? Let me get this straight, I say, keeping my voice steady. You two, who've been on cruises and wine tours instead of helping your daughter, want to lecture me about hurting Gianna? Mom's face does that lemon-sucking thing. That's not fair. We're retired. We've worked hard our whole lives. You're young, you've got a good job, and Bianca's your sister. Sister? I shoot back. Funny how that only matters when it's convenient. That's set off. Mom starts ranting about family duty, how I'm heartless, how Gianna's innocent. Dad chimes in with how this isn't how they raised me. The kicker? We don't enable her like you do. She needs to learn responsibility. I lost it, full on laughing in their faces. Now she needs responsibility? Where was that 5 years ago when I started paying her bills? Where was it when she was buying luxury junk with my money? Dad tries to cut in with some garbage about me being cold, but I open my door and hold it. Thanks for the visit, I say, but this is how it's going to be. Bianca wants to act like an adult. She can pay her bills like one. They left, muttering Italian curses under their breath. Always a sign they're pissed. Mom didn't even try to force leftovers on me, which, in Italian mom language, means I'm basically disowned. Aunt Teresa called the next morning. Apparently, Bianca was crying to everyone that she might have to move to a dangerous neighborhood, aka somewhere without a Whole Foods, because her cruel brother cut her off. Mom and Dad were telling everyone at church about their one sweet son who abandoned his family. But here's the twist. Aunt Teresa heard from salon friend that Bianca was planning a fancy spa weekend. With what money? That's what I wanted to know. Then Friday night, Bianca calls, all sweet like when she'd con me into buying her stuff as kids. Just letting you know, I'm moving out of the apartment next month, she says, like we're having a casual chat. Can't afford it without me? I asked, maybe a bit smug. Her laugh sent chills down my spine. Oh, I can afford it. I just found something better. Turns out, she's moving in with Mom and Dad. They offered Gianna their guest room, so she wouldn't have to live in a bad apartment. Bianca sounded smug, like she'd won some game that a month later, my accountant calls, telling me to check my credit report ASAP. I log into Experian, hands shaking so bad I mistyped my password 3 times. Guys, I nearly threw up. Over the past 6 months, 4 new credit cards were opened in my name. All maxed out. Thousands in charges to places I'd never heard of, Saks, Nordstrom, some bougie city boutiques. Even plane tickets to Miami, which explains her work trip last month. Total damage? $23,400. That's almost my entire house down payment. Gone because my sister committed identity theft. I'm not proud of what happened next. I threw my phone across the room. Thank God for sturdy cases. Punched a wall. Yeah, dumb move. My hand still hurts. Sat on my kitchen floor, feeling like I was having a panic attack. I called Aunt Teresa at 11 p.m. She's the only one with any sense in this family. She picks up on the second ring and starts cursing in Italian when I tell her the kind of stuff Nana would have washed our mouths out for. Call the police, she says. But here's the catch. Bianca has Gianna. What happens to my niece if I press charges? She's the only innocent one here. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories. Get more experiences. Your support and insights helped me realize I wasn't being unreasonable and gave me the courage to trust my gut.